So I want to talk about Trillion Trees, and I have a long history with the people behind Trillion Trees. For me, it started back in 1979, in fact, when I listened to Barry Oldfield, who was the founder of the Trillion Trees initiative. Back then it was called Men of the Trees. When Richardson Bar Baker, the founder of Men of the Trees in 1922, came to Australia and inspired Barry and his colleagues to set up their own Men of the Trees initiative to plant trees and rehabilitate land in Western Australia. Many years later I met Barry and was just inspired by what he and his colleagues had done there with Men of the Trees, and they have magnificent nurseries. They're very careful with the planting that they do. They have a great community involvement, so there's huge co-benefits there of engaging young people, old people, people of all ages really, in tree planting. And they plant on sites that have been degraded, where, for example, there's salt coming up, and they care for the trees once they're planted. They don't just pop them in the ground and walk away. As a consequence of this, people who have looked at other tree planting adventures might think that Trillion Trees are a little bit expensive per tree. But I'm happy to invest that money, and I'm happy to recommend that you do, because I know that when they plant trees, they stay there and they help them. The trees survive and they help them grow and flourish. Not always. There's always some problems with drought or pests and diseases, but then they get in there and replant. I've invested $2,100 to plant 560 trees with Trillion Trees. And every couple of years they send me a video to show me that the trees are there. Now, we don't want to ask them to be sending everyone a video, but the point is, I trust the people. I visited them a couple of times now, and they've got a great long-standing history of doing great things. So I thoroughly recommend, if you're interested in tree planting, to invest in Trillion Trees.